My elder son, who worked for the FBI, called at midnight. Dad, lock everything now, kill all the lights and get to the basement. Do not tell your son-in-law. Michael, you're terrifying me. Just do it. I obeyed. My name is Harold Patterson. I'm 59 years old, living in Seattle's Bellevue neighborhood. Spent 35 years as a Boeing engineer before hanging up my badge last year. Always thought the worst dangers were in faulty aircraft designs. Turns out the real danger starts in your own home. Hiding in my garage workshop through the small window, I saw something that froze my blood. 3 cars rolled up my street, headlights off, moving like sharks through dark water. Men emerged, dressed in black, heading straight for my front door. And my son-in-law Tony opened it before they knocked. Let me back up. My daughter Linda is 33 years old, used to be my little princess who'd help me work on classic cars every weekend. We'd spend hours in the garage, her handing me wrenches, asking questions about engines. That was before Anthony Reynolds walked into her life 3 years ago. Charming guy, I'll give him that. Real estate investment consultant, he said. Smooth talker, the kind who could sell you a broken-down Chevy and make you think you got a Ferrari. When they got married 2 years back, I was happy for her. A father wants his daughter to be loved, protected. But something changed after the wedding. Linda's laugh became quieter, her visits became shorter, and her eyes stopped meeting mine the same way. Then came the proposal last February. Dad, we want to move in with you, Linda said over coffee at my kitchen table. Just temporarily. Tony's between projects and our lease is ending. Plus, you're getting older. We could help around the house. I should have said no. Should have trusted my gut. The same instinct that kept me alive working on complex aircraft systems for 35 years. Instead, I said yes because she was my daughter, and I wanted to believe she still cared. That was my first mistake. Tony moved in like he owned the place. First week he installed security cameras. For your safety, Harold, he said with that practiced smile. You're living alone in a big house. Can't be too careful these days. Then came the financial help. He suggested consolidating my accounts, streamlining my bills. I work with money every day, Harold. Let me take this burden off your shoulders. My friends started calling less. When they did, Tony was always there hovering. Harold's resting, he'd say, taking the phone from my hand. He'll call you back. I never did. Eventually, they stopped trying. The cameras multiplied. Living room, hallways, kitchen. Just upgrading the system, Tony explained. But I noticed something odd. None in their bedroom, none in the basement garage where I kept my car restoration workshop. Linda went along with everything. Dad, you need to take it easy, she'd say whenever I questioned anything. You're not as young as you used to be. Let us help. My son Michael, the one who actually gave a damn, tried reaching out. Michael's 36, works for the FBI in their financial crimes division. Smart kid, always was. He called one evening in January, wanted to visit. Tony answered my phone. Michael? Oh, Harold's sleeping early these days. Doctor's orders. I'll have him call you back. I wasn't sleeping. I was sitting 10 feet away watching Tony lie to my son through those perfect white teeth. After Tony hung up, I asked, why didn't you let me talk to Michael? You need your rest, Harold. Michael works crazy hours anyway. He'd just worry you with work stress. He's my son, and you have enough stress managing your health? Linda chimed in from the doorway. Tony's right. You don't need Michael's FBI drama in your life. That's when I started noticing the pattern. They weren't helping me. They were isolating me. Every decision went through them. Every phone call filtered through Tony's control. My own house became a prison with invisible bars. I'm not a fool. 35 years debugging complex engineering problems teaches you to spot patterns, to see what doesn't fit. And none of this fit. But I played along, acted the grateful father, the doddering old man who needed protection. Because if there's one thing working on aircraft systems taught me, it's patience. You don't rush into a complex problem blind. You assess, you plan, then you act. The night everything changed was Valentine's Day, February 14th. The clock on my nightstand read 12:17 a.m. when my phone buzzed. Tony and Linda were asleep, or so I thought. I grabbed it quickly, saw Michael's name on the screen. Hello, I whispered. Dad, listen carefully. Michael's voice was tight, urgent. Not the tone of a casual late-night chat. Right now, lock all your doors and windows. Turn off every light in the house. Then go to the basement, your workshop. Don't come out, and Dad, whatever you do, don't tell Tony I called. My heart hammered. Michael, you're scaring me. Just do it. Please trust me. The line went dead. I sat there in the darkness, phone clutched in my shaking hand. Michael wouldn't call at midnight to play games. Something was wrong. Something was very wrong. I slipped out of bed, moved through my house like a ghost. Every instinct screamed at me to turn on lights, to check on Linda and Tony. But I trusted Michael. After months of isolation, of manipulation, of controlled captivity, my son's voice was the only thing that felt true. I checked the front door. Locked, back door, locked, windows secure. Then I killed the lights one by one until my home sat in complete darkness. Through Linda's bedroom door, I heard nothing. Either they were deep asleep or they were lying there listening. The basement stairs creaked under my weight. I froze with each sound, waited, then continued down. My garage workshop sat in the far corner, surrounded by my collection of classic car parts and restoration projects. A 1967 Mustang I'd been working on for 2 years dominated the space. The ticking of my wall clock filled the silence like a steady heartbeat. I sat in my work chair, surrounded by tools and the smell of motor oil. The small ground-level window offered a narrow view of my driveway, my front walk. Whatever Michael was worried about, I'd see it coming. The minutes crawled. My watch showed 12:43 a.m., then 1 a.m. Nothing. At 1:15 a.m., I heard it. Footsteps above me, Tony's voice, muffled through the floor. He was on the phone. Yeah, he's asleep. Everything's quiet. Nobody's going to interrupt us. A pause. Come on over. Give it 30 minutes. Park down the street. Lights off. My blood turned to ice. I pressed myself against the cold concrete wall, barely breathing. Above, Tony's footsteps moved through the house. I heard him pause outside my bedroom door, checking on me, making sure the old man was still tucked away like a good little prisoner. The workshop window sat just above ground level, offering a narrow slice of the outside world. I positioned myself in the darkest corner where I could see out but remain invisible. My heart pounded so hard, I thought Tony might hear it through the floorboards. I used to sit in this exact spot with Linda when she was 8 years old. She'd perch on my workbench, legs swinging, watching me rebuild carburetors. How do you know which part goes where, Daddy? She'd ask, eyes wide with wonder. Patience, princess, I'd tell her. Every piece has its place. You just have to pay attention, learn the patterns. She'd stay for hours asking questions, handing me tiny screws and gaskets. Sometimes she'd fall asleep on the old couch I kept down here, and I'd carry her upstairs, tucking her into bed. Those were good days, days when my daughter loved me, not my bank account. The memory shattered when I saw them. 1:20 a.m. 2 cars rolled up my street, headlights off. They moved like sharks through dark water, smooth, silent, predatory. Both vehicles parked at my curb. 3 men emerged, dressed in dark clothing. No faces visible, no identifying features, just shadows moving with purpose. Tony opened my front door before they knocked. Through the narrow window, I watched them file into my home, the place where Dorothy and I had raised 2 children, where my wife had died peacefully in our bed 3 years ago, where every room held 4 decades of memories. I couldn't hear their conversation, but I could see shadows moving across the living room window. Then they disappeared from view, heading deeper into the house, toward my study, toward my safe, my hands clenched into fists. The safe. That's what this was about. But how did Tony know the combination? I'd never written it down. Never told anyone except Linda last year when she'd moved in. Dad, what if something happens to you? What if there's an emergency and we need important documents? So reasonable, so concerned, so convincing. I'd given her the combination. 6 numbers I'd used for 20 years. The month and day Dorothy and I got married, I'd handed my daughter the keys to everything, and she delivered them straight to this snake she'd married. The weight felt eternal, my legs cramped, my back ached, but I didn't move, couldn't move, because if they knew I was awake, if they suspected I'd seen anything, I didn't know what would happen. I thought about the other times I'd trusted the wrong people. In my 2nd year at Boeing, I'd signed off on a component design that my gut told me was flawed. 2 months later, it failed during testing. Could have killed someone if we hadn't caught it. The engineer had smiled at me, shaken my hand, looked me right in the eyes, and lied. I'd been younger then, more naive. I learned from that mistake. Clearly I hadn't learned enough. At 1:47 a.m., they emerged. I pressed closer to the window, straining to see. One of the men carried a manila envelope, thick, full. Tony held something else smaller. They spoke briefly at the door, some kind of exchange. The man handed Tony a white envelope, payment, instructions, proof of betrayal in crisp bills. Then they were gone. Cars started, still no headlights, and melted back into the night. I waited, counted to 200, listened to Tony's footsteps overhead as he moved through the house, checking windows, resetting locks, playing the concerned son-in-law, protecting dear old Harold from the dangerous world outside. Eventually, his footsteps retreated to Linda's bedroom. The door closed. Silence fell, broken only by my ragged breathing and the steady tick of my workshop clock. I sat in that basement until dawn broke, watching the sky change from black to gray to pale blue, thinking, planning, remembering. Linda at 10 bringing me burnt pancakes on Father's Day, so proud of herself. Linda at 16 crying on this very couch after her first heartbreak, while I held her and promised everything would be okay. Linda at 25 at her mother's funeral, gripping my hand so tight I thought she'd break my fingers. When did that girl disappear? When did she transform into someone who'd betray her own father? Or had she always been capable of this, and I just refused to see it? The hardest truth hit me like a falling beam. Maybe she hadn't changed at all. Maybe I just loved her too much to notice what she really was. Around 6 a.m., I heard movement upstairs, normal morning sounds, water running, coffee brewing, the performance of normalcy resuming right on schedule. I climbed the basement stairs slowly, every joint protesting, made my way to my study. The safe sat behind a painting of Mount Rainier, Dorothy's favorite. My hands shook as I spun the combination. Inside, chaos. Documents scattered, obviously rifled through hastily, and the important ones gone. The deed to my house, my will, several financial documents, all the originals gone. Dad, you're up early. I nearly jumped out of my skin. Linda stood in the doorway, wearing her bathrobe, coffee mug in hand, concerned daughter face firmly in place. Couldn't sleep, I managed. Thought I'd check on some paperwork. At 6 a.m., she moved closer, and I instinctively closed the safe. Everything okay? Fine, just restless. You should get more rest. Tony's making breakfast. Come eat something. I followed her to the kitchen, playing my role, the doddering father, the man too old and confused to notice what was happening under his own roof. They chatted about their day ahead. Linda had appointments at the salon, where she worked as a manager. Tony had client meetings, probably other people to rob blind. Normal, boring, domestic conversation, as if they hadn't just stolen everything from me while I cowered in my basement. I watched them, really watched them. The way Tony's eyes flickered to Linda whenever I spoke, the way she touched his arm, a silent signal passing between them. They were a team, not husband and wife, not family. A team of predators who'd selected their prey carefully. After, they left for the day. I grabbed my phone with trembling fingers, dialed Michael's number. He answered on the first ring. Dad, are you okay? I need to know what's happening, Michael, right now. He was quiet for a moment. You saw them, didn't you? Last night, 3 men. They took documents from your safe. Tony let them in. Michael, what is going on? My son exhaled slowly. Dad. The FBI is investigating a document forgery ring. Real estate fraud, fake deeds, stolen identities, millions of dollars. And Tony's name is all over our investigation. The room spun. I sat down hard. Last night, we got intelligence that he was meeting with suspects. I couldn't get a warrant in time, couldn't officially intervene because you're my father, but I couldn't let you walk into danger blind. So you warned me. I warned you. And Dad, you need to be very careful now. Gather evidence, but don't let them know you suspect anything. Can you do that? Could I? I was 59 years old, tired, betrayed by my own daughter, robbed in my own home. But I was also a man who'd spent 35 years solving complex problems that could kill people if I got them wrong. Yeah, I said finally. Yeah, I can do that. The next morning, I became a different man. I started watching them. Really watching. Tony left around 9 a.m., meeting with clients, he announced. The moment his car turned the corner, I was up. I had maybe 10 minutes while Linda showered. Their bedroom looked normal at first glance, but I had analyzed enough system failures to know that people hide things in predictable places. Behind a stack of Tony's dress shirts, tucked into a shoebox, I found documents, copies of bank statements, not mine, someone else's. 3 different people, actually, all with significant balances, all with notes in Tony's handwriting. Good candidate, easy mark. I photographed everything with my phone, hands steady despite my racing heart. Put it all back exactly as I'd found it. Over the next week, I cataloged everything. Tony's patterns were predictable once you knew what to look for. Every Wednesday, he'd spend 2 hours in my study with the door closed, making phone calls. Every Friday, he'd take out the trash personally, never let me do it, controlling even the garbage. So I started getting up before dawn on Fridays, checking the trash before he took it out. That's how I found the document that changed everything. It was crumpled at the bottom, coffee grounds staining one corner, a legal petition. I smoothed it out on my workbench, reading by the light of my desk lamp. Petition for determination of incapacity and appointment of guardian. My name was on it. Harold Patterson, age 59. The petition claimed I was suffering from dementia, unable to manage my own affairs, a danger to myself. It requested that Anthony Reynolds and Linda Patterson Reynolds be appointed as my legal guardians with full control over my finances, property, and medical decisions. I read it 3 times. Each time my anger burned hotter. The document was dated but not yet filed, a draft. They were still perfecting their theft, making sure every detail was right before they sprung the trap. I thought about confronting them, throwing the petition in their faces, demanding answers. But that's not how you win wars. You don't attack when your enemy expects it. You wait, you plan, you strike when they're confident they've already won. I pulled out my phone and searched for family law attorneys in Seattle. Found one with excellent reviews, Margaret Foster, specializing in elder rights and guardianship abuse. Her website showed a stern-faced woman in her 50s with the kind of eyes that said she'd seen every scam in the book. I called her office, left a message. My name is Harold Patterson. I need to discuss a guardianship petition that's being filed against me. It's fraudulent. Please call back. That night, Tony and Linda sat in the living room talking in low voices. I stayed in my bedroom, door cracked open an inch. Their voices carried. How much longer? Linda asked. Another month or 2, Tony replied. I've got Morrison lined up. He'll do the evaluation, sign off that Harold's incompetent. Then we file. And the documents you gave those guys? That's separate income. $25,000 once they create the forgeries. Nice bonus. Linda actually laughed. Dad has no idea. He's too trusting, too old, thinks we're taking care of him. My hands clenched the bed frame. Too trusting, too old. 35 years of my life dismissed with 2 phrases. The next day, Margaret Foster called back. Mr. Patterson, I got your message. Can you come to my office this afternoon? Her office occupied the 12th floor of a downtown Seattle high-rise. Through the windows, you could see Elliott Bay spread out like a map. She listened to my story without interrupting. Mr. Patterson, you're in a serious situation. But you're also lucky. You found out before they filed. Most people don't realize what's happening until they're already in court. She pulled out a legal pad. Here's what we're going to do. First, you need an independent psychiatric evaluation. Someone they can't influence. I know a good doctor. He'll document that you're completely competent. Second, we change every lock in your house. New combination on your safe. They can't have access to anything. I thought about my garage workshop, about installing a small dash cam I'd bought for my Mustang, perfect for recording whoever came and went. Third, we draft new legal documents, a new will revoking any previous powers of attorney, and we prepare a countersuit for financial exploitation. Over the next 2 weeks, I gathered everything. The dash cam, hidden behind my workbench, captured Tony's meetings perfectly. Audio and video of him discussing the guardianship scheme, laughing about my ignorance, planning to steal everything I'd worked for. Dr. Richard Thompson's evaluation was thorough. 2 hours of tests, memory exercises, problem-solving tasks. When we finished, he leaned back in his chair. Mr. Patterson, there is absolutely nothing wrong with your cognitive function. Your memory is excellent. Your reasoning is sound. If someone's trying to have you declared incompetent, they're lying. Margaret Foster worked with surgical precision. New will, new locks, new safe combination, preliminary injunction preventing anyone from accessing my accounts without my in-person authorization. When they try something and get shut down, they'll realize what's happening, she explained. By then, it'll be too late. 3 weeks after Michael's midnight phone call, I was ready. They noticed the bank thing first. Linda came home furious. "Dad, there's something wrong with our account. The bank says they need you to come in person." "Must be a security thing," I said with a shrug. Identity theft is so common these days. I watched the frustration build. They couldn't access my money, couldn't control my medical care, couldn't understand what was happening. One evening I came home to find them arguing in hushed tones. They stopped when they saw me. "Everything okay?" I asked innocently. "Fine," Tony said through clenched teeth. "Just fine." But it wasn't fine. I could see it in the way his jaw worked, the way Linda's hands trembled slightly. Michael called me again. "Dad, we're close to making arrests. When we move, it's going to be public. Are you prepared?" "Yes," I said. "I'm prepared." The next morning, I walked into the kitchen where they were having coffee. "I'm going out this morning. Lawyer's appointment." Tony's head snapped up. "Lawyer? What for?" "Estate planning. I found your draft petition, the one where you declare me incompetent." The color drained from Linda's face. Tony stood up slowly. "Harold, I can explain. I'm sure you can. You're very good at explaining things. But here's the thing. I'm not the confused old man you think I am. And in about 3 minutes, I'm walking out that door. When I come back, I expect you both to be gone." "This is my house," Tony started. "My name is on the deed, the original one, before you stole it. My locks have been changed. My accounts are protected. And if you're not gone by the time I get back, I'll have the police remove you." Linda's eyes filled with tears. "Daddy, please don't. You don't get to call me that anymore. You lost that right when you decided I was worth more to you as a legal ward than as a father." I walked out, leaving them in stunned silence. That evening, I returned to find both cars gone. The house was empty, silent. I walked through each room, testing the new locks. For the first time in months, I felt like I owned my own home again. 2 weeks later, they came for Tony at dawn. Michael called me from the courthouse. 10 years federal prison. Conspiracy, fraud, identity theft. Your $420,000 in savings and $850,000 house equity is protected. The civil lawsuit against Linda moved forward quickly. $45,000 judgment, payable over 8 years at $468 per month. Fair enough. The courtroom was almost empty for the final hearing. Just me, Margaret, Linda, and her lawyer. Tony was in federal custody. Mrs. Patterson Reynolds, Judge Morrison said, "Do you contest the plaintiff's claims?" Linda's lawyer started to speak, but Linda cut him off. "No, Your Honor. I don't contest it. It's all true." Her lawyer looked shocked. I felt something shift in my chest. Surprise, maybe, or the faintest hint of respect. 6 months later, I received a postcard. No return address, but I recognized Linda's handwriting, working as hotel manager, in therapy, making payments, one day at a time. L. I put it on my refrigerator, not forgiveness exactly, but acknowledgement that she was trying. I finished restoring that 1967 Mustang, painted it Dorothy's favorite color, deep blue. Sometimes I drive it on weekends, windows down, remembering better times. My garage workshop is my sanctuary now. I've got 3 more classics lined up for restoration. Each one a project, a challenge, proof that broken things can be fixed if you have the patience and skill. Michael visits often, sometimes bringing his wife and kids. My grandchildren sit in the garage, watching me work, asking questions the way Linda once did. The cycle continuing, hopefully with better results. More postcards came over the following months. Brief updates, got a promotion, assistant manager now, paid this month's installment early. Therapist says I'm making progress. I didn't respond. Wasn't ready for that. But I kept the postcards, put them in a small box in my workshop, along with a photo of Linda from when she was 10, helping me fix a carburetor, smiling like she had no cares in the world. Maybe someday we'd talk again, maybe not. Time would tell. I'm 59 years old. I survived 35 years of complex engineering problems, a year of being manipulated and controlled, and months of legal battles. I lost my daughter, at least for now, but I kept my independence, my home, my dignity. Most importantly, I kept control of my own life. One evening, I finished rebuilding an engine for a 1955 Chevy pickup. I turned the key, and it roared to life perfectly. Every part in its proper place, every movement exact. Perfect order restored from chaos. That's what I'd done with my life. Taken it apart when it was broken, examined each piece, fixed what could be fixed, replaced what couldn't, and put it back together stronger than before. Some people might look at my life and see loss, a broken family, a daughter who betrayed me, years spent fighting just to keep what was mine. But I saw something different. I saw survival, resilience, proof that you're never too old to fight back, never too tired to defend yourself, never too weak to demand justice. Tony would spend the next 10 years in prison, learning what it meant to have your freedom stripped away. Linda would spend the next 8 years paying back what she tried to steal, learning the weight of consequences. And me, I'd spend however much time I had left doing what I'd always done, fixing broken things, keeping time, and moving forward. The garage clock chimed 7. Time for dinner. Time to keep living. Because in the end, that's the best revenge of all. Surviving, thriving, and refusing to let those who try to destroy you define who you become. I wound the clock, the same one that had kept perfect time through everything, and smiled. Time marches on, and so do I. Sometimes the people who claim to love you most are the ones willing to destroy you for their own gain. Trust your instincts. They're usually right about who's really on your side. Age isn't weakness, it's experience. And experience teaches you that the best revenge isn't getting even. It's getting your life back and keeping control of your own story.